Many Chinese ride-hailing drivers die suddenly, causes speculation. China's real estate slump leaves millions of unfinished buildings and 500,000 jobless. China launches anti-dumping probe into EU, US, Japan, Taiwan plastics as trade tensions intensify. Former mainland official comments on watching Taiwan's presidential inauguration ceremony. If the CCP invades Taiwan, ASML and TSMC could paralyze chip manufacturing machines. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Many Chinese ride-hailing drivers die suddenly, causes speculation. As the new coronavirus outbreak intensifies across China, reports of sudden deaths are becoming more frequent. According to insider sources, there is a concerning trend emerging, as dozens of ride-hailing drivers have unexpectedly died within just a few weeks in May. Recently, a ride-hailing driver suddenly passed away in his vehicle at Chengdu Tianfu Airport. A viral video displays a gray sedan parked in a crowded lot with numerous cars and an ambulance nearby. In the video, airport emergency responders are seen attempting to revive an individual dressed in orange, who is lying inside the car. Netizens reported that on May 16, this ride-hailing driver suddenly became ill while in his car. In a video posted by a Douyin user named Bald King, he comments on the alarming frequency of these incidents. He observed a driver collapse at the airport and pointed out that, since May 1, numerous drivers have died across various cities, 3 in Xi'an, 5 in Hunan, 4 in Chengdu, 2 each in Shandong, Beijing, and Shanghai, and 1 in Hebei. He notes that these are just the cases he is aware of. The user added, "From what I know, it's been just around 10 days since the beginning of May, and already 23 drivers have died. There might be even more that I don't know about." Lately, the frequency of sudden deaths has reached alarming levels, with as many as 3 or 4 ride-hailing drivers dying in a single day. For example, on the evening of April 11, a driver was discovered deceased at a charging station in Zhengzhou's Zhongyuan district after another driver came across him while coming to charge his own vehicle. In March, a driver collapsed and died at Hangzhou's Shaoshan Airport. On January 22, a 28-year-old driver in Xi'an died suddenly, and in the same month, a 36-year-old at Changchun's Longjia International Airport succumbed to a sudden illness. Many believe the high commissions charged by ride-hailing platforms are to blame for the sudden deaths of drivers. As competition intensifies, drivers are forced to work longer hours to make ends meet, leading to exhaustion and ultimately, tragedy. One netizen who is now a driver lamented online, "I've been driving for 5 years. The pay rate has plummeted from over 2 yuan, about 28 cents, per kilometer to barely 1, about 14 cents, yet I'm working the same hours. My earnings have halved, but my family's expenses haven't changed." Many drivers are overworking themselves just to get by, leading to fatigue and even sudden deaths. Meanwhile, others speculate these sudden deaths could be linked to the new coronavirus. They commented, "Blood clots after infection are a real concern." They highlight that in workers' compensation cases, pneumonia frequently appears in medical records, and the rate of sudden deaths has surged. This trend isn't limited to one group. Delivery workers and truck drivers are also heavily impacted. Previously, deaths from illnesses occurring within 48 hours at work were rare and seldom recognized for compensation. However, since last year, such cases have drastically increased, yet the funding for workers' compensation has not kept pace and has even decreased. According to a report by NTD-TV on May 7, the new coronavirus continued to spread across China during the Labor Day holiday, leading to overwhelmed hospitals and a noticeable increase in heart attack cases. Dr. Dong Yuhong, a European expert in virology and infectious diseases, has stated that the COVID-19 situation in China has been persistently underreported. The virus primarily affects the heart and blood vessels, causing inflammation and clotting issues that often lead to thrombosis. She highlighted, if a clot forms in a brain vessel, it results in a stroke. On May 17, a tragic incident was reported where Zhang Zongyue, a 24-year-old volleyball player from Hainan Normal University, suddenly collapsed while competing in the National University Volleyball League in Ningxia. Despite efforts to resuscitate him, Zhang still passed away. A netizen commented on the situation, saying, "Uncovering the truth behind these deaths would be truly terrifying." China's real estate slump leaves millions of unfinished buildings and 500,000 jobless. The real estate sector in China is experiencing a downturn, with high housing prices and numerous unfinished developments turning away potential buyers. This collapse has affected countless related businesses, putting them at a crossroads regarding their survival. Industry-wide layoffs have become a grim reality. Bloomberg reports that by the end of 2023, the real estate downturn had resulted in job losses for 500,000 workers, not including construction and marketing professionals. Bloomberg references Charlie Zhang, who once earned over $250,000 a year at Vanke during the industry's peak. After the market crashed, Zhang spent a year job hunting. In his most desperate moment, he accepted a job with a 90% pay cut after 70 interviews. Zhang has openly stated, "This industry has no future, it has been left behind." Ivy Zhang, another longtime real estate professional, was once named sales champion by her company for her exceptional performance. She used to work until 11 p.m. and would regularly indulge in $550 spa treatments. At 30 years old, Zhang helped sell nearly 1 billion yuan worth of apartments for Country Garden, about $140 million, earning an annual salary of about $83,000. Those better days are now behind her. Currently, Zhang sells health products on social media to pay her bills. Despite her efforts, she is struggling financially and reflects, "I used to spend 3,000 yuan, about $419, now I'm trying to cut it down to 2,000, about $279, and then 1,000, about $140, just to survive." The report notes that real estate once propelled China's economy, contributing up to a quarter of the GDP. However, data from Bloomberg Economics suggests that by 2026, the real estate sector's contribution to China's GDP could drop to 16%. Analysts warn that this downturn could potentially result in unemployment or reduced earnings for up to 5 million people. China launches anti-dumping probe into EU, US, Japan, Taiwan plastics as trade tensions intensify. As trade tensions between China and the West continue to escalate, the Chinese government has made a significant move by initiating an anti-dumping investigation into polyoxymethylene (POM) copolymer imports from the European Union, the United States, Taiwan, and Japan. This investigation, announced on May 19, was triggered by applications from 6 Chinese companies representing China's POM copolymer industry. The probe, set to conclude by May 19, 2025, could extend an additional 6 months under special circumstances and will examine the period from January 1 to December 31, 2023, for any alleged dumping. It will also assess the impact of such activities from January 1, 2021, to December 31, 2023. POM copolymer is an engineering plastic that can substitute for metals like copper, zinc, and lead in various applications including auto parts, electronics, and medical equipment. The announcement of this investigation came shortly after a social media post by CCTV, a state TV network of the Chinese Communist Party, warning of EU anti-subsidy investigations against Chinese products and stating that China has ample countermeasures. This move by China follows a series of anti-dumping inquiries by the EU into Chinese goods, such as electric vehicles and tin-plate steel, suggesting a tit-for-tat response to perceived trade imbalances. Similarly, the U.S. has raised concerns over China's industrial overcapacity, leading to President Biden imposing increased tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles and other products. In response to China's investigation, a European Commission spokesperson emphasized the expectation that China's actions will adhere to WTO rules, and mentioned that the EU will closely review the investigation's findings before deciding on further actions. Precise retaliation. Mr. Davey Huang, a Chinese-American economist, discussed with the Epoch Times the significance of POM copolymer, a high-end compound used in various industries including military, automotive, and medical sectors. China imports a substantial amount of this material, approximately 400,000 to 500,000 tons annually, worth around $2 billion, from regions including Europe, the USA, Japan, and Taiwan. Mr. Huang highlighted China's current anti-dumping investigation, which specifically targets mid to high-end POM copolymer imports from the EU and the US. He noted that while the investigation might affect these markets, the impact is very limited. Firstly, the import volume is not more than $2 billion. Secondly, China's import dependence on POM copolymer is about 50%, as China also has domestic production of the plastic, but the quality is relatively poor. Mr. Huang further explained that the investigation would not significantly affect Chinese industries overall. However, it could impact foreign companies manufacturing in China, specifically those producing high-end and mid-level cars, such as Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Tesla, Ford, etc. These vehicles, which are exported to Europe and the United States, often use superior imported POM copolymer. Therefore, the investigation represents a precisely calculated, targeted strike aimed at these foreign companies. Meanwhile, Mr. Lai Rongwei, CEO of the Taiwan Inspirational Association, characterized the investigation as a retaliatory move by the Chinese government, mirroring the accusations of unfair trade practices levied by the EU and the US against China. He described this tactic as part of the CCP's broader negotiation strategy, mixing pressure with offers to negotiate, aiming to compel the West into discussions. Former mainland official comments on watching Taiwan's presidential inauguration ceremony. On May 20, Taiwan celebrated the inauguration of its new president, Lai Ching-te, ushering in the Democratic Progressive Party's third term. Lai Ching-te's inaugural address sparked a sharp response from the Chinese Communist Party. The regime also actively prevented Chinese citizens from hearing what was said. Weibo blocked any tags related to the inauguration ceremony. Some users managed to post screenshots of the live broadcast, but these were quickly deleted by the platform. A Weibo user commented, "I searched all day for news and still have no clue what Lai actually talked about." On May 21, Chen Binhua, a spokesperson from the Taiwan Affairs Office, sharply criticized Lai's speech, accusing him of persistently advocating for Taiwanese independence, promoting divisive ideologies, and stirring up cross-strait tensions with misguided attempts at achieving independence through external and military support. The CCP's media outlets echoed this sentiment with widespread criticism. However, the intensity of CCP military aircraft disturbances around Taiwan significantly reduced on May 20. According to Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense, while 8 naval movements were detected near the Taiwan Strait, no CCP aircraft crossed the median line or entered the southwest airspace from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. that day. In the days leading up to the inauguration, CCP aircraft had frequently crossed the median line, getting as close as 43 nautical miles from Keelung. Commenting on this event, a former official from the mainland, Duwen, told the Epoch Times, "It seems that the Taiwanese government has made a smooth transition, even though Beijing was already well informed about Lai Ching-te's speeches and plans, as these would have been anticipated and prepared for in advance." He further explained, President Lai Ching-te's inaugural address did not diverge from the previous statements made by President Tsai Ing-wen. Essentially, it continues the long-standing position of the Republic of China. This stance is not about advocating for Taiwanese independence, it's based on historical facts, not merely political rhetoric. Duwen reflected on Taiwan's historical context. Taiwan itself emerged from the civil war between the nationalists and the communists. The communists couldn't take Taiwan by force during the war, so the idea that they could now simply talk their way into taking it seems highly unlikely to me. In his inaugural speech, Lai Ching-te expressed hope that the Chinese Communist Party would acknowledge the existence of the Republic of China, respect the choices of the Taiwanese people, and engage with Taiwan's legitimately elected government on equal and dignified terms. he proposed replacing confrontation with dialogue and isolation with exchanges, suggesting that cooperation could begin with the resumption of bilateral tourism and educational exchanges for students coming to study in Taiwan, all in the pursuit of mutual peace and prosperity. Duan voiced doubts about the situation, remarking, "The Communist Party's guiding principle has always been that power comes from the barrel of a gun. If talks are even possible, they'll happen under extreme duress." Wang Deng, a pseudonym, a doctoral scholar in law from mainland China, told the Epoch Times, "The CCP completely ignores the rule of law, flouts international norms, and even fails to adhere to its own legal standards. Hence, engaging in transactions or collaborations with such a regime offers no predictability regarding your future." If the CCP invades Taiwan, ASML and TSMC could paralyze chip manufacturing machines. Following the inauguration of Taiwan's new president, China has ramped up its aggressive rhetoric regarding the forced unification of Taiwan. On May 21, Bloomberg reported that ASML, a Dutch multinational corporation specializing in photolithography systems, and TSMC, a Taiwanese multinational semiconductor foundry, possess the capability to disable the world's most advanced chip-making machines in the event of a Chinese invasion. Citing two sources familiar with the matter, the report revealed that U.S. officials have privately voiced concerns to their Dutch and Taiwanese counterparts about the potential consequences if China escalates its aggression into an attack on the island nation, which produces the vast majority of the world's advanced semiconductors. ASML has assured Dutch authorities of its ability to remotely disable its extreme ultraviolet lithography (UV) machines, for which TSMC is the largest single customer. These machines are capable of producing chips used in military applications, and the report notes that ASML's technology has long been subject to government intervention to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. TSMC chairman Mark Liu hinted in a September interview with CNN that any invasion of Taiwan would render the company's chip-making machines inoperable. He stated, "Nobody can control TSMC by force," emphasizing that TSMC factories would be unable to function in the event of a military invasion. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. If you find the information helpful, please share this video with a friend to watch together. This will be a great source of motivation for our team to produce more and more quality and reliable videos. And also don't forget to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths. Thank you for tuning in.